Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and as the US government shutdown continues, there are several prizes Trump and the Republicans are playing for here. You would think it should be easy for the Democrats to make headway here. The shutdown is, in theory, related to affordable healthcare, which should be a very easy sell to the American public. But also, it's holding back a vote to release the Epstein files. The shutdown is materially impacting a vote on whether those files should be released that people across America want released, and Trump has made known he does not. Quite how the Dems are messing up the narrative on this one is a question for someone more knowledgeable of the situation than I am. But nonetheless, there is evidence that this shutdown could still be a high-risk time bomb for Trump. But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button, stay notified. So, from the White House's perspective, this isn't just a stalemate, this is a calculated gamble. Trump's team historically has believed that a shutdown effectively forces Democrats to cave, ultimately handing him a win on what they frame as culture war spending. They're banking on the idea that their base, the bedrock of his support, loves the fight, the defiance, more than they care for the issues at the heart of the impasse. Such is the tribal nature of Trump's America that victory is all important, and that bizarrely means struggling MAGA supporters wanting their own healthcare act, right? Recent polling showed a bizarre 72% of likely Republican primary voters backing this hard line. For them, it's about sticking to those principles of winning and losing, no matter the cost. Yet, if you look at the national polls, different story, of course, one that spells potential danger for Trump. A significant 58% of independents, it's not as overwhelming, but still it's a majority. And that's the crucial swing demographic. Even 26% of self-described moderate Republicans are openly opposing this shutdown. They're thinking more about the policy than the partisan fight. And that's the danger zone, a political minefield. I mean, after all, Trump's core supporters are going to vote for him anyway, or whoever he tells them to vote for. Trump's overall approval's already slipped with various acts of economic stupidity. And amongst those all-important independents, the drop's really quite important. History does offer a warning here. When the previous shutdown dragged on past 21 days, those same independents, feeling the pain and frustration, punished the party they saw as holding the country hostage. See, Trump, presumably, his brain hasn't gone so far that he doesn't remember 2018. He's just betting that 2025 is somehow different, that his political magic can defy gravity this time. But is it a bet he can really afford to lose? Now, here's where a political inconvenience can turn into a full-blown crisis of trust. The House was actually scheduled to vote this week on releasing sealed documents from the Jeffrey Epstein case, right? Now, it's not just any old vote. It's non-binding. It's a non-binding vote. But it is politically radioactive, touching on sensitive nerves across the political spectrum, has bipartisan support. But the moment the shutdown started, House leadership, fairly quietly, postponed the vote. Sorry, no funding, that means no floor time. Oh, convenient. Almost immediately, social media lights up, claims flood online that Trump has engineered the entire government closure as a deliberate tactic to bury the Epstein files to keep them out of the public eye. Now, there's no proof this is the case. There are several possible reasons for Trump to be supporting this shutdown. The first is the obvious one. Republicans loyal to Trump want to cut public spending. He's passed that one big beautiful bill, which is massively opening the deficit. They need to try and cut spending where they can so they can have their tax breaks for the billionaires. But there's a few outliers and the Democrats wanting to defend affordable healthcare as best they can. The second possibility is that Trump thrives on wins. In theory, the shutdown could end with a compromise. But Trump isn't really about the compromise, is he? He will want this shutdown ending with the Democrats backing down. If they do, he gets another win to parade for his supporters and tighten his grip further. But we also know that Trump doesn't want the Epstein files released. And it's not obvious why, even with the shutdown, the House could not have carried on with that vote. In politics, perception is everything. Trump usually benefits from this because he's all perception and no substance. But if swing voters, the ones who decide elections, if they even smell a cover-up, the shutdown stops looking like a principled budget fight where you can sort of appreciate people have got strong views on both sides. It starts to look like an obstruction. That narrative, if it takes hold, completely flips the coverage then. Instead of who will blink first in the budget fight, the headline becomes, what are they hiding? And once that kind of headline takes root, once that seed of doubt is planted, it can stick. And the particular risk for Trump is that that sort of question, what are they hiding, works not just on swing voters, but his own core support. It's literally their trigger question. It's incredibly difficult to shake off, could be far more damaging than any budget battle. You know, political scientists have got a term for what happens when a shutdown lingers. They call it negative partisanship. It's when independents, who aren't partisan, crucial swing voters, dislike the gridlock and dysfunction more than they dislike the other political party. And when that happens, they don't hesitate to punish whoever looks responsible. There's even a magic number that history would seem to highlight, 22 days. After that threshold, blame can shift very rapidly and decisively. So in 2019, for example, Trump's approval amongst independents plummeted in a single week because airport security lines had trebled, making daily life a nightmare for a lot of travellers. We've just gone over the 1 week mark so far, so there's a long way to go. But let's say both sides really dig in here because Trump makes it impossible to come up with a compromise deal which lets both sides sell a win, because Trump needs to not only win but for the Democrats to lose. If it reaches 30 days, history tells us something remarkable. The president's party typically loses an average of 37 House seats in the very next election. Trump is, of course, betting that his unparalleled name ID and his mastery of media dominance, to say nothing of rigging the elections with all his might, can somehow outrun that political gravity. But he is also flirting with another, even more dangerous ticking time bomb, the recession clock. Every week of this closure, it's not just a political battle. It knocks about 0.1% off annual GDP. 0.1% sounds small, but it actually translates to reduced consumer spending, hits on private businesses, overall economic uncertainty. And if the quarter growth is negative, if the economy actually shrinks, the entire Trump economy brand, arguably his strongest card, his central promise of prosperity, could detonate, causing irreparable damage to his political standing. So with this time bomb ticking, what are the ways out? Well, according to some experts, there are probably three main ramp-offs, three potential ways this could end, although it occurs to me none of them are particularly easy, not for Trump. See, first, the Senate could bundle the contentious health insurance subsidies into a broader disaster aid bill, perhaps for recent wildfires or other emergencies. In that scenario, Trump could then claim a victory on disaster relief and sign the bill, and the government would reopen. The Democrats get to say, but we also defended what we were trying to defend, and that's all it was about. So it's a way for him to save face and declare a win, even if it's on a slightly different issue. But it requires him to be willing to also allow the Dems to claim to their side that they got a win. In other words, it's a compromise, not a definitive win. Second, House moderates, feeling the pressure from their constituents, could force a discharge petition, rarely used but powerful procedural manoeuvre that would bypass House leadership. They could then pass a clean funding bill with a coalition of moderate Republicans and Democratic votes, effectively daring Trump to veto a bipartisan product. Vetoing a bill with significant support from both parties would be a bit of a political risk and could backfire dramatically. However, this would make Trump the clear loser. The third option involves the White House pivoting to an emergency declaration. Now, Trump does like his emergency declarations. Now, under disaster authority, the president could unilaterally fund key agencies, restarting salaries, getting critical services back online, while negotiations continue separately. Could be a bold move, likely to face legal challenges, but it would get the government functioning again. Trump might like this option because it makes him look like he's taking charge in the interests of those federal workers and the economy. But it then means there's no reason to further delay the Epstein vote. And it also only delays the showdown where Trump needs the eventual resolution to not just look like a win for him, but a defeat for his opponents. I mean, Trump is well known for not believing in mutual benefit. In any interaction, there is a winner and there is a loser. His entire mindset is fixated on that perception. Any number of people who've been close to him have said that. So Trump really needs the public to turn on the Democrats. But this is challenging when the Democrats' line is they're just defending affordable health care and Trump is only encouraging the shutdown to block the vote on the Epstein files. Frankly, it's testimony to the Dems' terrible PR skills that Trump hasn't already lost this war of words. All the Democrats need to do is persuade those key voters, not the broad public, just key voters, that they are defending their basic healthcare rights against a tyrant who's trying to hide his association with a convicted nonce, and there's no reason why they can't just sit tight and wait for the Republicans to crack. I don't understand how Trump even has anything to play for here. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.